most impressive thing Logan Wilson does for you in your defense that maybe we don't see, that, being the medium when he's on the field?
Yeah. It's a hard one because he's a very well-rounded player. I think the way he runs sideline to sideline, he can chase a lot of things down in space, screens, just covers a lot of ground. That's not to take away from all of his other strengths he has. He's a really smart player. He's physical in the box, can run, really good in coverage, has a knack for creating turnovers, with all of those tipped interceptions, some of the ones he gets clean. There's a lot of ways that he makes an impact on the defense.
Do you feel like his background, he was saying he played wide receiver, he can play linebacker until he got to college? Do you feel like that helps him in terms of
I think so.
that you're talking about?
I think so. For a guy that played receiver and safety and to be exposed to all the different teachings that happen to those positions, have that sort of athleticism and grow into probably a linebacker body like he has, I think serves you well at this level.
I just run through some injury stuff. First off, I guess no team for Burrow today, I'm assuming?
No team for Burrow today. 7-on-7.
Okay. Alan George, was he kind of dinged up a little bit?
Some of these guys are just day-to-day, but, yeah, AG should be fine.
Okay. Do you have time, Lyle Collins, any time for him to get in team stuff?
No, we're just taking it day-to-day, and some of it is ramping him up one day and then pulling him back another day, so that's what we're going through. But he's getting all the walkthrough reps, now, which is different than he was, so that's really good communication for us to get a chance to work next to Alex and hear Joe call plays, and that stuff has been really, really helpful for some of the veterans like Lyle.
Jackson, I think, will probably practice today, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you like out of after watching the tape, what did you like out of what Cordell did? Or what did you not like, or whatever? What's your overall impression of how he played in the preseason?
I think he's a rookie that's improving every single day. And we like all the intangible stuff about Cordell. He flashes some really good stuff, and it's just the consistency there and learning from your previous mistakes and really encouraged by the direction that he's heading. But by no means is that left guard spot solidified by anybody. There's been things that we've seen from all of our guys that have really shown up. But Cordell, we're happy to have Cordell and know that he has a really bright future here.
How valuable is it to see when you have a position battle like that, see guys go against like competition or possibly rotating series?
Yeah, it's different because sometimes their strengths are a little bit different too. So it's we like to see them get into a flow instead of the rotation of the series. Let them get into a flow, and let them play over the course like last time half. And we haven't determined yet. We're still days out on how it's going to unfold for this next game. But I'd rather see guys play a long stretch of time, even if it's not against the same person that they're going against. Some of the same D linemen, some of the same linebackers. I'd rather see them get into a flow and see what they can do.
How challenging is it to evaluate guys if they're going against almost different strengths of defensive play?
Well, that's the case maybe in a game, but we still have all these practice reps to go through, and it's some of it's sometimes not physical. The mental things, seeing guys make improvements that way. So there's so much things that go into all this, and so again, we'll just weigh the entirety of the preseason. Whenever we ultimately make decision on those position battles, you weigh everything that goes into it, and who gives you the best chance to be efficient on offense.
Did Joe come out of yesterday feeling good, as far as you know?
I didn't ask him. I just assumed, yeah.
Speaking of position battles, Darren always says that the games are really where he's able to get the evaluation he needs. Where are you at with your battle at Punter? What did you think of the first game with those two guys?
Not a lot of reps for them. They only got a couple each. And so we'll just continue to go on from these next couple games.
What's been your overall message with Huber? Obviously someone as long tenured as he is, but in a different spot than maybe he's been in there a while.
He understands. It's competition, and he's had a tremendous career, and now he's competing for that spot. And I think everybody that's a professional athlete understands that that's the way this game works, and he's obviously been a big part of this team for a long time, and so it's good to see him get out there and compete.
What are the biggest responsibilities of a backup quarterback in your mind, Zach?
The biggest responsibilities?
Of a backup quarterback, yes.
Yep. To have the trust of the team, that if you go in there, you're dependable. The starting quarterback typically gets more opportunities to prove that. And so as the backup, the way that they see you work in the building, all the things that go into practice, that they can trust you to move the team and control the team when you need to. I think that's the biggest part. Secondary parts are the role that they play in the quarterback meeting room and how they help. That's like its own its own little fraternity in there in that room. If you ever get a chance to go in there, and which you guys won't, but it's just it's you're helping the starter. Once the season hits, you're helping everyone improve in the room. And so we have coaches in there, but these quarterbacks, oftentimes they end up coaching someday, and so they think that way for a reason. And so it's all hands on deck in that room of trying to piece together information on the opponent, trying to help the guy who's going to walk out there, and then the guy right after him, which is the backup, be ready for the game. And so just a bunch of problem solving, great conversation. I learn a lot when I'm in those rooms. That's when I'm bored, that's where I go, just to see what the dialogue is. So he's got plenty of roles.
What about running scout team? I mean, does that factor in how, a backup quarterback can read, like you said, what the other team might bring offensively and kind of mimic that for the defense? Yes,
there's mimicking that is helpful. There's feedback that's good for the defensive staff that comes from quarterbacks that you what's the word, have trust in. When there's a quarterback that everyone knows is a smart guy and he can offer feedback to the defense coaches and players about things he sees, that's always helpful. I think our guys have done a great job of that over time. Oftentimes, it's specific on some things you're trying to work on defense, so they're throwing the ball a certain way, but it's a great opportunity for quarterbacks to grow. And if you throw an interception, it's not the end of the world because your defense gets some work. So you get a chance to be really aggressive when you're on the scout team and throw some throws that maybe sometimes you don't make when you're only getting a couple reps with the true offense that you're running. And so it's a great opportunity to see these guys play on time, play aggressively, and then help the defense in whatever wisdom they can give those guys.
I know you got a limited sample size out of Burrow in year one, but what did you make of overall how he played in year two, and why it seemed like there was a good amount of development in his game, and kind of what was the impetus for that, and what does that mean going forward?
I thought Joe played really well last year, and I thought he was really improving year one. I thought he was getting better every week. He was I don't know if confidence is the right word, but just understanding what was going to be thrown at him, what it was like to play these NFL defenses. I think he had a lot of confidence before he got injured, and that really carried over. When he probably felt fully healthy last year, after the initial part of the season, that he knew he could trust, his knee again, and I thought he played outstanding. He's very limited times. Is there a missed throw? Is there a poor decision? He plays on time. He plays very fast and decisive, and gives his playmakers a great opportunity to make plays with the balls, and that's critical for the quarterback. And he's done a great job of that last year, and even yesterday he makes really quick decisions, and it's so he gives the guys an opportunity, maybe half a second, to make a play with the ball in their hands before the defender can get in the best position they want to be in. And that's one of the things that Joe brings to the table is that quick decision making.
Jamar said yesterday that he was calling out Burrow's throws before he would made them during the 7-on-7s, just because they're always on the same page, and he was reading the defense as well. How unique is that for a receiver, quarterback, any age, to know each other that well?
Yeah.
Each other?
Well, yeah, he knows probably what Joe's thinking on some of these play calls, and I'd say yesterday it just happened that there's maybe more specific where it's probably a little easier to predict where the ball was going based on some of the plays we had. Some of the more nuanced routes that we had that we were going to try to get the ball. So. Well, if Jamar can keep it up today, that'd be great. So I'll ask him when it gets done how many he predicted right.
Looking at the offense, there was you've spoken about definitely a shift in especially December and in the second half of the season as a whole. Kind of looking back at that, how much of that was Joe's health, how much of that was kind of a shift in philosophy with you, and how much of that was maybe just game planning and different things you saw from the defense?
I think it was just the team, the chemistry really taking over the team in all three phases. I don't think it comes down to one person. I think we just felt really good as a team that if one area was dragging, that the two other phases were going to be able to pick it up. There's full confidence that if the offense needed to make a play, the defense and the special teams had faith that the offense could do it and vice versa. And I think there's no greater we felt that earlier in the season, there's no question. I think the first Raiders game, you really felt that. All three phases took over at the right times. And then in the Tennessee game, the last 3 plays, really the last 3 significant plays where defense created turnover, offense got the yardage they needed on the first play, special teams kicked the field goal. I think that was really indicative of how this team played, and that's what we strive to work for this year, is to get back. That takes time. I don't care how many players we have coming back. That takes time to find your rhythm, and it's unpredictable how long that takes. Is that game 1? Is that game 8? Is that game 15? Obviously, you want it sooner rather than later, but I think that's part of the beauty of the NFL season is just seeing how it all takes shape with a new team.
Kendric Pryor's been making more and more catches, it seems, at practice, and then obviously had a good game on Friday. Why has he grown so much? What stands out?
He's been the most improved player since the springtime, and that's what he did over the summer. I don't know. Maybe it was just the lack of opportunities in spring, and just making the most of his opportunities this training camp. He knows what to do. He goes and attacks the ball at the highest point generally. He's got good speed. He plays physical as a receiver. And so I think it's been really impressive what he's been able to do over the course of training camp is the opportunities that have come his way, he has maximized them. And that's all you can do is when your number's called, make sure everyone's paying attention, that you know what to do. And Kendric's done a really nice job of that.
To briefly follow up on that, it seems like there's going to be a lot of the competition at the back of that receiver room is going to be pretty heavy towards the last couple of games. What would you like to see as the differentiating factors on who makes that?
Well, there's still a long ways to go. I can promise you that. And so there's so many names that are competing for spots, and how many do you keep? Those aren't conversations that need to be nailed down yet. Special teams always factors into the backup receiver jobs. And so, again, that's not something we're pressing to have sorted out today or tomorrow. We've got many more practices, 2 more games, practices against the Rams. So it'll be a lot of great opportunities for you guys to continue to showcase why they should be a part of their team. And that's exciting. It's a really good room, and it's fun to watch those guys compete and make the most of their opportunities.
It feels like receiver especially, kind of looking at the back end of the depth chart in the practice squad, you really like to develop guys and keep guys around. Is that a position maybe you look to do more at receiver compared to some of the others?
Say that again.
It seems like receiver, you keep guys specifically like Stanley, Mike, some of the guys on the practice squad have been here a while. Is that really important with receiver in particular compared to other positions to have guys who have kind of been around in the back end of the chart?
There's a trust factor there for sure, and I think there's no question. If guys have been in the system for a long time, there's a trust there, then there's a trust there. I think that's the easiest way to put it. And we have plenty of guys that are trying to break into that. It's fun to see. And so the healthy competition makes everybody improved. In terms of the practice squad, you're always looking for guys that have traits that you feel like you can develop that are maybe fit the whole of that room or bring something different than other guys have. So you're always trying to evaluate, who's got a trait that you can continue to develop. And, so we always try to look at that as we're developing those practice squad guys.
What are you watching for in the 7-on-7 drills with Joe in order to determine, his fitness for what he's doing? I mean, you must be focused on him every play. What are you looking for?
I wouldn't say that that's a great evaluation of his fitness. 7-on-7 isn't. More the individual. When pitch has him over there and they're doing movement stuff, that's a much better evaluation. The 7-on-7's more just mentally getting back in the groove of things, the timing of the throws, the accuracy, going against the defense and trying to see some of the disguises. That's really more to gain than the actual fitness part of things. So truthfully, I didn't learn much about his fitness yesterday. I got to see a chance for him to throw the ball further than I'd seen him throw, and just some of the routes on air. And he looked very crisp doing that. He played on time. He was aggressive with his decision making. That was all encouraging to see. That's what I gained out of that yesterday. Not so much the full body fitness and him moving around.
What did you think of his individuals, Zach, like the step in the front?
Yeah, I think he, I thought he moved around well. And so again, we'll just continue to take it day by day. Today's another opportunity to do that. Tomorrow's a player day off. I'm sure he'll do some stuff with Matt and the rehab stuff, and then we'll see where we're at on Wednesday. That's undetermined what we'll be at, but get him a chance to do another day like he did yesterday, and that was encouraging, I think, for everybody to see.
With Joe doing more, is there more of an acceleration of this camp now?
What can you go further on that?
I'm just thinking that he seems like wants to do more, and do you feel like you could put more on his shoulders and he wants to take as many reps as possible?
No, I think we've got a good plan in place now. As we narrowed it down to kind of what it's going to look like over this week, we feel like we've got a good grasp on the timeline of the rest of training camp and what we can do on offense to make sure that he's getting all the looks he needs to see before it's for him. It's Pittsburgh. Are we ready for week 1 of the season? And so we've dialed out every practice, and he and I have had conversations about how many opportunities we have left to make sure we check all the boxes before we go into week 1, and we feel very confident that we'll be able to do that and feel prepared going into that game week.
What did Cordell Volson do
Get you
best?
next.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, what did Cordell Volson do best in his effort to compete for that number one?
Well, I think he does a good job anchoring and pass protection. When he locks up on somebody, he's a strong guy. He's got great grip, and they have a tough time getting around him. And so, again, it's for any young lineman, it's assessing the different looks and targeting the run game and not wasting any movements and being where you're supposed to be to help your teammates. And so those are the things that I see him continue to make progress in. I think Jackson's made a lot of progress there as well. So it's a good competition. Both guys have shown really well, and we're just looking for the overall consistency for someone to grab hold of that job and move on with it.
It seems like from our standpoint, you've avoided the kind of sluggish training camp day that sometimes happens. You seem very methodical in your approach with the 2 days on, 1 day off, and then obviously starting the program later. Are you happy with the overall just like freshness of your team? And can you tell us a little bit about how you came into the decision to set your schedule up that way? Because it kind of seems like some of the younger coaches, and I think it's different here than anywhere else, have kind of shifted away from the 2 days of training camp.
Yeah. Well, everybody in this league's worked for the Rams, and so it's all just the same schedule. No, it's trying to keep your guys healthy during training camp and getting great work. So our message to our players is we go 2 days on. We're going to be in full pads. We expect a lot out of you. We want you coming off the field that second day exhausted, and knowing that third day is going to be their walkthrough day or day off, and then we're going to hit it again for 2 more days. This next part of the week will be the first time we go 3 days in a row where it's really more like a game week. It's a Wednesday, a really heavy Thursday, and then Friday is the third day, but it's helmets, it's back down, more red zone work. So that'll be kind of the first time we do a 3-day stretch. But, just our experiences and looking back at the history, a lot of the soft tissue stuff has happened on that third day where guys have had a heavy second day, and then the third day they get it. It happened to us last year. We did go 3 days in a row after that 4-day ramp up. We had a day off. We went 3 days in a row, and on the third day we lost a lot of skill guys. And this year, knock on wood, we've been better with the soft tissue stuff. There's been things that happen with the collisions that happen in training camp where guys are going to have injuries that they have to miss time for. That's just football. But our guys have done a really good job taking care of their bodies and going hard when we ask them to go hard. And that's been the message, and they've bought in. They understand the intent of why we do it. And they've really bought into it, and our coaches have done a great job buying into it, and it served us well. We're getting all the work we need to get done. We feel like our guys are prepared, and we're still going to need these next 7 practices that we get before we get into a real game week, but I feel really good about where the guys are at.
Like, how much are you, obviously the games are important, but how much are you kind of looking at those 2 Rams practices as sort of like, almost like a crown jewel of training camp, but really a last chance to really judge everything and kind of directing things towards that, if at all?
No, not really. I'm not there yet. It's certainly, you got to look at the structure of the practices because it's coming up soon, but to us, these next 4 days of practice are too critical today, and then the 3 days after the break leading up to this Giants game. So that really has been our entirety of our focus. We haven't talked at all about the Rams week. We'll get to that, as we get closer to this Giants game. We'll think more about it. But right now, it's just been more, we're in training camp mode right now. We got 4 more days this week of good practice, and we'll take advantage of that.
Preseason game.
I'll let you follow up, Paul, and then I'll...
Yeah, I was curious what the moment was like for you yesterday, because between T and Joe, when they all went out there, and it was Higgins, Chase, Boyd, Hurst, Burrow.
Yeah.
It Was that a little bit of a nice reflection moment for you to say, okay, this is nice?
It's nice, yeah. I see it in walkthrough. You guys don't get to see it in walkthrough, so that part, I was past that part. But it's good to see T out there running around for sure. He's such a big target, a game changer. He does bring a lot of energy to the huddle as well. They all bring certain energy, but then when you combine all, it's just one big ball of energy, and it's fun to see. They really play off each other, and it's pretty cool to see that group together.
Preseason game plans are typically pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
The Giants, though, last week raised some eyebrows with how much they blitzed. Is that something you took note of, and is it something that you almost welcome when you try to evaluate young line?
Yeah, it's all part of it. We're trying to evaluate our guys as best we can and give them confidence to go operate. And it's good. Sometimes you got to adjust over the course of watching a team as you're preparing to play them. You got to have a good plan in place. And then over the course of the game, you got to be able to make some changes in a preseason game, which you got different guys entering the game, and you're making an adjustment for a guy sometimes that hasn't been in there and maybe hasn't played in the NFL ever. But that's part of the preseason, and you get a chance to get some different opportunities. And these guys present really, different coverages and pressures than we saw last week, and that's good. That's what we need to see. And so I'm excited to see how our guys get out there and react to this style of football, and I think it'll be a great opportunity for us.
Logan Wilson is doing a little bit more
Yeah.
on a daily basis. Took some team reps yesterday. How encouraging was that, and what did it look like to you?
It's good. He's really done great with his rehab. I know he felt really good coming into training camp, and so just, again, we'll start to ease him more and more into team. But it was good to get him out there and watch him fly around. I think he's ready for it.
Coach, what do you see for your lineup in New York yet? Have you made a decision yet on who starters go?
It'll be similar to last week, just maybe different timing of guys. But we haven't, we still got a couple days left, so we haven't fully dove into what it's going to look like. But I would anticipate the same players playing again.
No status?
No.
Everyone good?